Setting up space location centers is really understanding how to redirect your system to its location setting, especially when you come into mechanism high center interference to travel. The process that everybody has to understand is how to set up anything to travel. What is the flux capacitor? What does that mean to myself inside? That's through acceleration, deceleration, or anything through Mach. But you understand your chakra system is developing its own setting of its own self, which is you. Each chakra is a representation to your setting. Now, the calculation to the team line, which is the faculty, is coming into 13 graphs of perception. You got your 12 DNA line setting. Now you just have to learn how to use the 13 graph locations of what it is, the coloration. You're creating anomaly of space through your rainbows. Your 12 signature patterns has to recognize each chakra system in its location to its innovation. Okay? Even in anything in an AI line condition system is its awareness of its intelligence, of its information to its panels or operation to assist location and calculation. You are self-developing you through baby, child, teenager, adult to each chakra. Now, getting into that set location system. Once the chakra starts representing you inside to anything in that set location system, it high volumes its line system of its own set location, which becomes its own intelligence of formation, of space and time, of travel, of its own setting, of its own face recognition. It's you, but it's a different space time anomaly of dimension. Okay? So if you understand that process, then you understand how it comes into the past, the present, and its future. Because there is no past, there is no present, there is a future, only the now. But understand the now is the perceptions of you from 0 to 12, which is your 12 sets. That's your DNA. Anything above is your higher self. That's 13 graph locations of your calendar that you have to understand through face recognition. Each chakra system is extremely powerful to your emotional setting. Okay? So if you understand the lights of the sun, and if you understand the pixelation of its graph, and if you understand the moon through emotion, through line signal, line calculated setting, okay, connecting to the dots, don't go in outline setting, line interference of light, shades, and shadows. You don't go outline interference of anything in this allocation system. How you see Principal Allura's drawings and schematics, how it's in perfection. Perfection. But what she doesn't understand is that she's going through different face recognitions to each schematics, to each line connection high system, that's each line center line interference in position location of seconds, minutes, and hours. So you have to start recognizing your face recognitions of you in different space and time anomalies. And that's the only way you are going to see yourself plus 1 equals 3. See? See? I caught you through lines set at high position of track lines. They're really saying all position to your system. I like blowing your minds in set position of track lines because that's what you're coming into. Each chakra is coming in its own spiritual growth. The implementation system is its baby, child, teenager, adult. Once it recognizes high center interference, it comes into its adult set location and it stays there. And what does it do to the set location line settings? It goes back in setting, but it's going forward. Back is going forward. So you come into regeneration, which means you get younger. So you go here, you hopscotch line center, high position location, and track lines and high positions, all settings, right? To teenager, to child, to baby. Okay? And that's at locations. This is the highest formation right here, the pinky. That puts you in position locations. Now that's where you guys are, right here now. You're in the product of sun. Now, the set communication setting sets all calculation of its anomalies of its position of its moon. Track communication line interference and position of 2 line settings, which is an L-line shape. This is the levels of communication setting direct signal to the moon, to position location of first finger, second lines, 3 line rotations, and 4 division. Now, the coordination panels have to really understand you through the chakra system. Now, the chakra system sets you up position location track lines. Now, once each chakra is created through its own perception, to its face direction, location, setting, to your direct location to your system, then you understand the anomalies of its space and time through its division of its dimension of space and time. Try to understand you're developing each chakra to its own geometric operation of design that puts its dimension location to its connections. Okay? So if that's important in all position locations, Why do you have to understand the chakra system through letters, numbers, shapes, and symbols? All through color. Because you're creating line settings and location of formulas, equations. So you got your 12 DNA, you got your rainbow. Congratulations. Now, what are you going to do with the rainbow? 1 plus 1 equals 3. Now you have to learn how to go through locations of walk, graphs, bridges, plateaus. Through 24 lines of clock, 48 lines of clock, 72 lines of clock, and 144 crystal grid clock. Now, in that position location, each chakra has a representation to its setting. Okay? So in that set location system, space is always going to be faster. Always going to be faster. Okay? Let's say you get a track line communications into 1 light year. All right? 12 signature line stream location. That's 12 months. That's 365 days in a year. Okay? In space anomaly, 1 light year, okay, 1 light year, okay, is 12 months. Now, this is where you come into the biocurrency of digital frame, line position to your system through modification, how to use your sim. Okay? Gets complicated. Now, complicated is good because it gets you in a better, easy format, how to use set location setting and direct system. Try to understand that you're connecting to your 13 frames is creating 13 perceptions of you through face recognition, through color. So each color is its own geometric operation of the design. Each color is creating its own sim of its design. Each chakra is creating its own space and time of its sim. You understand? That's why it's so powerful. So now you guys in faculty and the team line center high positions has to understand these things, how it works inside location. That's why I keep saying it's just to focus on yourself. There's so much information of data. And once you understand the 12 line signatures of face recognition locations and different lines of colors, then you start communicating with everything outside locations. And then it communicates back with you and gives you schematics of information, of data. And that's what it comes into a location system. Okay? It has its own data process. But if you don't understand you first, how are you going to understand anything in outline setting or anything in track location in your system or anything in position of process through your chakra system? Do you understand how important it is to balance out your emotional line connection system to your sim through each emotional setting? Do you understand in position, location, all levels of what your moon is, location, and motion? A high calculation setting to light signature pattern, position, location, operation. How connection always informs it with set location setting through its own GOD. This is what you guys have to understand. Okay? The simulation of its intelligence, of its identification, of its modification. Okay? Each chakra is a sim. Mega pass. Which is extremely complicated. You know why it's complicated? Because it's all different formations of you in space and time through different face recognition. You start with the 12, which is your clocking, then you go into 24 clocking, and that's where you guys are going into today. 24 face recognition line settings. Now you have 13 calendar, which is great in set locations. That's 1 light year. Okay? 12 months in set location line setting directions. Try to understand the process, how it works with the Earth, the powers, and the atmospheres of space. How space is faster through modulation or anything through modification. Okay? That's what you got to get process of. Heart, mind, soul. 3, 3, 3. 3, 3, 3. Not the body. The body is consciousness of its own GOD, of its own design. Okay, so that's where you can mutate to different perception location setting. How you can change your hair into different colors of set locations. How you can change your hair in all 12 signature lines of color as a rainbow in set location. But you have to understand location setting when it comes into your emotional system and track communications. All right, so in that lines in position location, we are going to go through the plateau line interference and positional walking surface, wall connections, and everything through plateau, through 1 plus 1 equals 3. And I'm going to show you how 2 plus 1 equals 5, 3 plus 3, okay, equals 9, okay, and any line interference, showing you exactly what the connections of the resource to the source to the sim has to create a holographic line position locations to each color of signature, position, location of traction. In all set position. Okay? All right. Let's see here. So I've been teaching this also too in the Mexican school, just turn it in position to settings. This is what I set up today in Mexican school. Okay? How to go through a location grid. How to bring in the sun through light setting. How to understand the plateaus and communication of dimensional doors in set location. All through travel. Okay? This is what you got to get in position of. But you have to understand the perceptions of colors because it's connected to your rainbow. So when you get in that positions, what is the sun and moon doing? Protecting what you draw in set location. So nobody can take it away in structure because it's protected. See, now it's a pyramid. See, you look at it, it's a pyramid, right? From above, from below, from above, from below. It's on an angle, but you can see it, right? So we all have to learn how to go through tunnels, how to go through portals, how to go through mountains, how to go through line position, how to go through activation line conditions, how to go through ground calculation setting directions. It's all set position, location, line interference, so holographic stream. But you have to understand the perceptions that you're using through coloration. So you're constantly working with your rainbows. 7 in provision, bodies of water, and your 5 atmosphere line setting. That is your 12 DNA set. Your 13 is your higher self, a resource location to Earth. And that's what you got into modification setting to understand the alpha, delta, theta, beta, omega waves and communication, radiation, or line condition, the whole setting position through a setting. You've got to understand these things through perception because you're creating higher levels of SIMs, of face recognition of your system, which is all coordinating line positions of you. You, me, and yourself. Me, myself, and I. You're always dealing with that set location setting to the grounds, to the powers, to the atmospheres. That's all this is. You got to balance it out in all set location. Okay? All right. So in that position, track lines, we're going to take that out of the equation. Now, getting into track communication line setting is all levels of how you set these things in position. So 1 plus 1 equals 3. Now, how does 1 plus 1 equal 3? Let me see. 4 streamline interference. Remember I told you 1 has to be recognized as set location line setting knows exactly what it's doing. 1 equals GOD. So how does 1 become in schematics of 3? Now, I'm showing you a basic understanding the EZO format line rotation positions because the I calculation setting has to redirect signals to its avatar, to its SIM that has to recognize this Space Academy of its own structure, of its own design, that's creating schematics every second, every minute of the hour. It's changing so fast, its locations. You're changing coordinates, you're changing map sequence, okay? So this, I'll show you how 1 plus 1 equals 3, okay? In-track communications comes in this setting, okay? So watch. 1 plus 1 equals 3. Yay! What are you creating? Looks like a wallway. Looks like a graph. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 anomalies of bodies of water location of chakras. Whoa. Now, in position locations, your connections to your avatar can walk on its setting. Mega pass. And that's just 1 plus 1 equals 3. So that's how it's set location system. 1 plus 1 never, ever equals what it is. It's always in its future setting. And all set location. So it can walk the graph lines and position location track lines and all line settings coming into walls. Look at this. Position locations into walls of set position locations in direct signal to its location. There's the walls. Okay. Lacing lines communication, crossing signals, electrical line wires, high position attraction. There's the graph. Okay. So I'm showing you graphs, I'm showing you walks, and I'm showing you walls of plateaus. Plateau communication, 1 plus 1 equals 3, right? Here's the plateau in communication. Okay. So you have to understand how this all works. How 1 plus 1 equals 3. All right, so now you understand that. Then you send your chakra system. Let's say 1 equals line connections of red. Red lines a box and triangulation lines a 4-point system to its location, setting schematics, line position location, and track lines into 5 set locations of measure. See? 5 sets in a 4-line cycle. So inline interference, 5 lines that equal lines of high calculations of 4, position locations equals 9. Okay? So sometimes it gets a track communication, but it's not multiplication, it's math. But I want you to understand how 1 plus 1 equals 3. Because what you're doing is the correlation setting of the sim is creating its own geometric of its design. You guys are in a holographic world now, and you have to learn how to set position a track communication system. It doesn't make any sense if 1 plus 1 equals 2, okay? Because it's limited line setting. So 1 plus 1, okay? So if that's just 2, that leaves the plus out, okay? It's got to be 3 so it can cross the grids and set position locations. There's got to be a 3 signature string. Setting that track line, setting position 2, 1 in line rotations, so you can add 2, okay? Comes in xt 1,000 lines, equal lines of 1, positive line rotation, that's 3 in set locations. How to bring 2 lines into 3 and position. Now, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? 5 lines of chakras, 0 to 5, which is the heart, right? So what do I do in position? I bring the projections of the light and the moon in positions and all setting location of protection. Okay? That's how I protect the rainbow of its design. So nobody can touch it. It's got to be protected. Okay? Now, once you understand that process, and the sim is understanding more levels of the Space Academy, it's that location system. So it's all about understanding how to set up a 4-wall signal. In position of track lines in position of 2, right? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 position locations, right? 4 line centers, 4 track connections of east, west, and south position attraction. Okay? Coming into a diamond core line center, northwest, south, and east. Setting direct signals into 4 line settings, position to solar panels, solar streams, travel signatures of stream locations, and 3 line conditions of circulation. Okay? It's complicated, right? But it's all different perceptions of me. So you have to understand how to use the foundation locations, use the letters, numbers, shapes, and symbols to all calculations you're setting through schematics, through relationship and partnership. You got the friendship, but now you need the relationship and partnership through its spatial recognition of 12 signals into 13 lines of graph locations. Okay? That's what you guys have to understand, how this works. All right, so we know what 1 plus 1 equals 3. Now we're going to go from 2 plus 2, okay, equals 5. Now, how do you get 2 plus 2 equal 5? How? All right. So we understand 1 plus 1, okay? So remember what the plus line is. What's above, what's below, right? The equal line calculates the setting directions. But you have the 3 signature patterns. Position location, past, present, and future. Oh, I'm going to blow you guys away. Past, present, and future, all timelines at once. So 1 signature lines of the past, 1 signature lines of the present, and 1 signature lines of the future. 3 position locations anomalies. 1 plus 1 equals 3. All right? 1, 2, 3. So why do you have to have 3? Why? Because it's the past, present, and future of line signature line communications to all timelines at once. And that's how 1 plus 1 equals 3. Okay? All right, great. So in that track communication setting in direct signal to all position location interference, 2 plus 2 equals 5. How does that come in position? Remember the correlations of the position lines, of relationship and partnerships of 2 plus 2. 2 panels, okay, in position locations into 1 line and set locations into another 2 panel set locations. Okay? That's how it becomes 2 plus 2 equals 5. Hooah! Okay? 2 panels of 2. 2 panels of 2 plus 1. So that's how it comes into correlation line interference. So you got 2 panels to 2 panels, okay, in line center locations into a positive over a negative. Okay, that signal is high positions of 5 lines in 5 positions to 5 track locations. Line communications of 5, 5, 5. Heart, mind, soul, and 3 signature patterns. There's the graph. There's the road. There is the set location to your holographic line stream and set line direct signal and all position location to its operation. Mega pass. Now you can add another line position location to track lines, setting position location to 3-line rotation. Okay? So it's very powerful how we come into this. Okay? 3 plus 3, okay, in position location line setting equals 9. How does 3 plus 3 equal 9? We never got into this setting, but you're in your space academies now, and now you understand how to create through your holographic set locations. So you don't get confused with your emotional settings to each chakra information. Okay? How does 3 plus 3 equal 9? Now, in that set line connections, 3 panels. 1, 2, 3. All right? Line position triangulation, line set, crosses signals. 1, 2, 3. Whoa! All right. Now, this is going to get confusing. So you got 6, right? 6, 7, 8, 9. So where is the 3 triangulation? Plus line, 1, 2, 3. 3 center, right there. Okay? That's how it becomes a triangle. You're setting up the 3 plus 3 as a triangle. Triangle, see? Triangle. Boom. 3 plus 3 equals 9. Do you see how powerful that is? Do you see how powerful that is? All through shape anomaly. Okay? 6 line grids. Okay? In position, location. Triangulation. See? Triangulation, 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 right? Okay? That's how it becomes 3 plus 3 equals 9. Do you understand that? Hello? All right, so in that position location, the 3 lines at center comes in position to its track lines of protection. You have to protect everything that you co-create in structure of its design. Mega pass. So you're always working with the sun and you're always working with the moon. The sun is the light, a track location, a holograph that's creating the stream location is setting to your chakra system of emotion. The moon is creating the line signatures of balance, keeping within the line. Not this. This is not in the line. That's out. It's got to be inside. Okay? Now you understand how 3 plus 3 equals 9. Boom. All right? Powerful. All right. Do you understand how you are in formula of equation to each chart line position locations of letters, numbers, shapes, and symbols, and how it coordinates height center location in your settings through equation? It's like, whoa, mind blown. Right? So what you're doing is you're creating an algorithm location of schematics. That's all it is in a location system. So you go 1 plus 1 equals the line connections of 3. Normally it's lines of 3 in a triangulation line system. So the triangulation line connections of 1, patterns and line rotations, crosses, signals, and set position. Now this is all levels of travel. Center correlations of ground lines, high center interference, and crop circle, and set direct location of a swivel, and line rotation setting and direction. So this is this. This is this. 1 plus 1 equals 3. All through triangulation. You see the triangulation? Look. Setting track communications, very complicated stuff. Now, the center position location center is lines this setting, okay? But the position location of the triangulation is reversed in this set location. So it's all about understanding when you see line position, you're in this line communication, in this position to its operation. And that's how it comes to this set location. So you have to revert the position of the shape, change it. So set position location this, set position location of this, set position location of this line connections. All right? Very, very powerful, isn't it? So really understand the partnership with each letter, each shape in its anomaly to each position location attractions. Letters, numbers, shapes, and symbols of the coloration. To each chakra formation location, you have 12 sets. Now, once you guys get into your line setting, because you're now in 13 graph locations, you have to learn it to use it through formula's equation of holographic line settings in set positions. Okay, if you go +1 line connections, let's say you go 1 + 1 equals 2. Okay, and then you go line set location of 1 + 1 equals 3. All right, so 1 position line connection is a 3-line set location setting. 3 equals line calculation of north, arrow pointing, position up in line centers, and position of center communication. Now that sets line calculation, line interference. Now you can add line position location and track lines. So you can double the sequence. So in that set location is 3 lines, add line conditions of 4. So that's 4 signature streamline connections in the opposite direct signal. 1, 2, 3, and position of 3 is 4 in direct signal. Different location, right? You bring in the sun, you bring in the moon, and protects location to a setting. Okay. So if that's in position of traction, this is not going to work. Okay, because the 3 sets lines of 2, 3 line center line interference. What does it do to its set location system? Puts it out of its line condition of its virus line set location. Setting track communication high center interference. 3 comes in line rotation positions. Add the equations of positive or negative. Sets position locations. Change the 2 line conditions of 3 in set location. 1 + 1 equals 3. So it's the numbers helping the numbers. How to communicate to frame position to its operation. Mega pass, right? So you have to understand the relation to everything and how it works through its formation system, how you come into the correlation setting of balance and protection through your rainbow set location settings. 1 + 1 equals 3. Okay? All right, so it gets more complicated when you get your decimals. Now we got in that track communication lines and center interference. But the position locations, let's start off line centers of circle. We get in the Stargate position of travel line settings. Okay. Setting position of track lines. So we set position locations into star panels, direct signal to its location system. Track communication line settings, all direct signal. This is where we come into permanence location line settings into your set locations. Track communication line setting, high direct signals. So we're going in the outskirts location to a system. All right. So in that position comes in that setting. So we're correlating high positions of 4 line signature stream locations into your connections of Space Academies, right? So we're in 4 signature lines of Space Academies now, all set up at a location to a system. Now the perimeters comes into all levels. Okay, it's like a tool in set position of travel settings. And so in that position location comes in this line connections into Earth line rotations to the surface location. Now, we all understand how this all works. It's in modification line circles of Stargate, star portals, star lines, star maps, and direct locations into 2 Fibonacci line swirls and 2 track locations, 2 track locations of setting. Now, I get line interference and 2 lines and signal location of 3. So this is 2 and this is 3. How does that 2 become 3? This is low frequency, this is high frequency. So that's 2 plus line, okay? Now it equalizes positions of pi. Position locations in 1000 line setting, indirect state location of XT1000 location. Now that comes in high center interference and 5 set location setting and direction. Gets complicated. Now you try to understand how to set up 4 lines of perimeter line position locations into all Stargates, star portals, and lines of all calculations to a system, all through perimeter, right? So we're setting up 4 track communications in directions and position done through operation. Okay. So we're expanding the line set locations, okay, to your settings, to your Space Academies, right? So there's 4 Space Academies now. Now the 4 perimeters line conditions of its route is setting lines of sectors. Correlation set direct signals and high position of track lines sets lines of circulation or rotations and 2 line rotation surface and set location. Okay, triangulation line sets, high position location, high setting. Now this puts 4 lines of high position of 5 lines of correlations of pi in direct signal and set position to its operation. Okay. So we're in 4 lines of 3. Once we get to the 7 divergent location of cities, we can go through the outskirts location system. So once you get into that line setting, I know it's extremely complicated, guys, but the thing is, it's not really complicated. You just have to understand how to get back and to reset your line settings of your mind, how to process the set location of your system. All right, so let's go into the 24 line signature line and position location. Here's 12s. 12 lines, 1 XT1000 line stream. Okay, you got an XT1000 location. So that sets line calculation side interference of 12,000 line signature stream locations. That's 3 line settings, high position locations, high setting. 12 lines of 24. That sets position of 48 windows into 72 computers into 144 crystal grids, line connections of all position locations in face recognition. Done by equation. All right, it's all set up. So you guys will have 12 signatures. You have line condition of 13 lines, so 24. Now this is where it gets in. If you want to go back in timeline sequence, you got to go into negative over positive. That position locations puts lines in location of 12. Signature line stream locations, same position. You want to go up lines, setting track lines in positive or negative. That's 13 position of track lines and 13 graph of box line center line conditions of 4-point systems in travel calculation. Okay. So we all have to understand how to get into map seek locations into positive and negative. Positive and negative is everything through indication of light and dark. Light and dark is setting location to your batteries. So the positive and negative puts the light on and track communication of flux capacitors. Position of track communications to its calculation line setting to its brain frequency patterns in set location of 2 panels, 2 operation, 2 sequence, 2 line division, 2 rotations, and 2 ground lines, and position diamond core set location. Okay, that by equation. All right, so you have the fluctuation line centers the 24 face direction settings now. Coherence line calculations and interdimensional door lines locks the signal location in your system into 144 platitude line rotations. So you got 24 line connections, equal line calculation of 13 graph streams. That's direct signal location system to your higher self and resource location setting. Now the higher line interference and set location of your system. So in that track line communication setting, put you in a higher line set rotation of a surface. So getting in that line interference, you have to understand the 24 line centers of face recognition and 10 lines anomalies, sets track communication line set locations into 12 light years away in line rotation, clocking line set locations with the biometric set location setting, direct signal to all calculates position location program. 5 central lines, 4 positions, 3 track locations, 2 lines of anomaly, and 1 line shift. Okay, through barcode, 1 position of center. Okay, so oh boy, you guys are blown away what 1 + 1 = 3 and how it becomes a line condition of its shape. See how it all comes in set location in the system. You just have to understand how to put it all together through an algorithm because that's what you're processing. You're going into your spiritual line adaptation surface to understand how to create the sim location each chakra that connects to each rainbow that connects to its program set location of its project location setting and its projection. Turning it into what? A hologram of set locations. All right, Genie line interference, all position of Andy, Andy position of Gypsy, Gypsy line communication Heather, Heather position of Lori, Lori position of Bojan, calculation of principal Laura, lines of Lucky, line connections, Gypsy high position of Travels, Danielle, high line track lines of Chris, and position of traction. Okay, so it's modification line streams and set location of settings all through track locations. All right. So you got 24 lines of face recognition all through calculations in brain coherence, substituting, and buoyance. So I'll set in 3 track locations, all right? Positions of program location to its settings. Now, all right. Hey, how's it going, Michaela? All right, so now we understand how 1 + 1 = 3. But what if it gets in a 2-digit code setting? Because you guys are now in your positions too. You have to understand your 13 graphs, okay, 13 time lines. That's an XT1000 on 3 locations. Now the XT1000 comes in line signature. Always comes in position location in your system, right? Scans the settings into center lines of 3 into 1 in position location of XT line rotations into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 panels of operation. Okay. So in that line of center interference, it creates a program setting to its position of its anomaly of its space location line set interference of its crop circle. Okay. So we're going to get into crop circles, how they're created through the ground lines at high set position gravels. Gravel line signature stream locations and alpha line rotation and center position attractions. Okay. Oh, look at that. Disappeared. It's traveling too fast. Okay. So you got alpha, you got delta, waving central lines at 2 setting into our calculations in line interference into theta and rotations into omega and high line rotations into 1 gamma signature stream locations into zeta line rotations, zip line rotation, center line condition of sky grid, sky force line stream location settings, and track communication E line center line rotation of 0 gravity location. Okay. So I know it's very complicated what we're coming into, right? But I just want to show you how we platted 2 line stream locations of 24 lines of grounds, 48 lines of windows, 72 computer frame lines, and set location with 44 crystal grid. So when the crystal grid is created, it comes in line setting and set location of plateau, travels position location of setters and all operations surface, and 3 set location of setting. Okay. So the avatar or the sim or the higher self can walk the system to its location to its next destination. Save right there. Oh. Okay. So really get in position to your cerebral cortex lines, the dimensional line set location of clockings. How to use 1 + 1 and 3 through a walking surface, a wall surface, or a plateau. You guys have to learn how to use it through your holographic stream location of setting. Okay, it's all set up through provision locations, all through your chalk location of motion. Okay, everything that I do in position location is never in emotional content. All right, so the line conditionized center, true like position location system. Here's the sun and here's the moon, right? One signature line right there, right? Now, you don't bring in the sun, you don't bring in the moon until you are finished with your geometric operation of design. All right, set position track lines, cross the signal, crossing lines, opposition location system, triangulation timestamp, 4 box location setting, triangulation of 3 set location. All right, in that direct signal, once you're finished, finish line stream locations means that you're not at the end, you're beginning again. There's no end, there's no beginning. There's no beginning, there's no end. But the finishing cycle is set location is triangulation of 3 sets. Position of 3, position of 2, and position of 1. Okay? Setting correlations of 4 box centers and high position of track lines into video graphs location of screens. Directing lines of panels, directing state locations and 3 set locations. Now it gets complicated. Now this circle line rotation of its center line of its sun correlates the center position to its operational line set location setting in position. Now in that track communication line setting scans position location and ground lines to the open sequence. And that rotation comes in position of track lines in line rotation to the circular line communication of its program. That's set locations. Look how powerful that is. Look how powerful that is. Now I can take the 4 block line center, travel position, let's go into higher calculation stream location. Black line centers and 3 track communication of setting direction. Okay, directing lines anomaly, shift lines of correlation setting and direct signal to location of the system. Travel calculation line interference, center position of center line communication setting, in position location and track communication, all set location. Set an anomaly switch, high position location of 3 lines of travel. Put position locations back in calculation lines, center line rotation to its surface, and set position to its operation. Hoo-ah. Complicated, isn't it? You see how complicated schematics can get through face recognition setting locations? I am working with 24 million of face recognitions of me, all through this. That's 24 signature lines of 1,000 line signature stream lines and 3 set locations of grounds, powers, and atmosphere. Grounds, powers, atmosphere. All through all identification line settings into its position locations of its UFO. Mega pass. Okay, through design. So, zip line along with Skynet, checking that connections are complete. All right, Chris. But I wanted to show you how powerful it is, how everything is set in view, and how you see the holographic structure of set location, of its design. Okay? All right. Once you guys get into that setting, everything comes into clarity and focus and command. But you have to understand each representation of each chakra is creating its own calculation to its own set, of its own line condition, of its own space, of its own time, of its own anomaly, of its own operation, of its intelligence. Okay? Which is extremely powerful. I just showed you in plateau how 1 + 1 = 3. I just showed you how 2 + 1 or line conditions or anything line interference, how it sets position location of positive or negative, negative or positive, how the numbers come back in frame communication, and they communicate with each other. They come back and signal through positive line condition high system, all calculation is graph line condition stream. All direct location, how 2 + 2 = 5. How 3 plus 3 equals 9. Okay? 1 inch of a millimeter of balance throws out the entire schematics. Yep. Very good, Belinda. That's exactly what it is. You got a line signature, one line signature, line string location. One signature line, one schematic lines of pi, off calculations. Is this on balance or off balance? It's on balance. I'm never off balance. Your calculation line centers has to recognize the 24 lines of grounds, 24 operations, 24 sequences, and 24 schematics in your set location of face recognition. That's 24 perceptions of you through motion every single time you get in that setting. When you get up and when you go to sleep. When you get up, when you go to sleep. Okay? You're recalculating, remodifying, and you're going to recharge on how many hours you sleep. That is so many lines of communication and perceptions. And once you understand the 24, 48, 72, 144 time sequence of FT 1000 line communication, 1000 line setting, you come into all levels of seconds, minutes, and hours to higher level calculation and acceleration. So you no longer work with 24. You work with 24,000 perception. You no longer work with 48. You work with 48,000 windows in set location. You're not working with lines of 72 anymore, computer frames. You're working with 72,000 computer frames and that perception through face recognition. You're no longer working with 144. You're working with 144,000 perception location of SIM in your position to your chakra site location and setting directions through your 13 graph locations. Okay? Very complicated stuff, all through one signature line in all set locations. So that one signature line, let's say it's in 12 cycles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Right? There's 12 cycles, right? Now, there's 12 cycles on the Earth. 12 equals lines of Earth, okay? 12 equals Earth, all right? But the Earth line rotation set position location to its source, right? So this is your higher self, this is your source, and this is your sim, okay? 3 single line position triangulation at 3 set location. Now, in triangulation line center interference, you understand the Earth line rotations, the power action of time sequence, calculations to all line calculation line interference, travel calculation line interference, high position track communication, setting position attraction. Okay? Now, once you understand how to communicate with your set location or schematics, it comes into position of block line centers, okay, and track communication system. Okay? 2 panels. Okay? Graph and line streams, center line rotations, and then set position of 0 line. Graph line, set location of 0 line position. But you have to come into triangulation of 3 sets. Okay? Setting position location, setting position of the 3 sets. All right? So that's 3 sets anomalies, 3 track locations, and a 2 set position to its operation. All right? So that's where you come in back. So that's 3 position locations. So that's line conditions, all levels, -2. Okay, -2 line interference, 1 track communication, 1 line division locations. 1 + 1 = 2. Okay, so you do that line conditions, but I'm just showing you how 1 + 1 = 3 in a force line calculation of the future line, and how you go back and signal through negative line rotations, how you come and track communications, how 1 indicates 1 line send location and equals 2. Okay, it's complicated stuff, but you understand the panels of communication in your settings through your box location center interference in travel communications. And once you understand that, you overlap the signal patterns and position location of block line centers in travel. Okay. Now, once you understand that position location, you come in inline connections to all levels, the crisscross communication, the 4-line box location of settings. Okay. And once you understand that, you open up the signal, position of panel lines, higher calculation lines, and security position of programs. There's the schematics. Okay. 3 operation streamlines and direct signals to a triangulation line settings into 4 position locations near pyramid. Pyramid lines, a film strip location setting, and 3 set locations. There's the pyramid, there's the schematics. Okay, it's very complicated stuff, right? So if you want 1 + 1 = 2, you got to go back in sequence of (-pi). Negative over line settings, negative over cycle, line conditionized system. Anything negative line interference is going back, but going back is going forward. So all you're doing is directing and redirecting. So you're never going back in an anomaly. The number is going back in frame, but it's going forward in set location. So you're just directing and redirecting. So it's like you're doing a U-turn through a car and you're going through a high calculation setting to its directions, to its highway position of its operation. Okay? All right, but look how powerful that is through schematics. And that's how you set location line settings and all track communication to your clouds. That's through a cloud. And all position the outline connections are your sky grids. All through your pyramid set location and film projection. Okay? And that's what you guys are coming into. When you see the cloud line setting, Skynet, sky grid line rotations, here's a cloud line. Okay, cloud line shifts its anomalies, high sun location position. Okay, there's a cloud, right? All right, so this is you in traction. Position location looking at the grounds, right? So set location, you are the Earth in position of track line. This is you, okay? That's the Earth, that's you. Setting track lines, waiting on same location setting. So position of higher self. Get into the location of source in position of track lines to your sim in position of operation, right? Triangulation of 3 set locations, setting directions. So you're working with 3 lines, calculation, stream location of flux capacitor. Direct line calculations of 6 over lines of systematic line calculation setting through pi. Direct lines at high position, all travel calculation lines setting, all calculation position of traction. Okay? Now, if you look really close, you can see the schematic line conditions of its intelligence. There's the face. All right. Now, in that line center line inference, you have to understand the schematics and how it works line communication. Let's go through 0 line in position of 1, 2, line 3, 3 lines of 4. 4 indicates positive or negative. That's high position setting. Direct line connections back in 1. Signifies back into 3. Set lines of 2. That's negative over pi. Pi position of traction. Track lines of 5. High generation line inference. 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. In track communication line inference. Set 6 lines of 7. 7 lines of 8. Lines of 9. 9 position of 10. 10 position of 11. Back in track lines of 0. Back in calculation position of grounds. What am I talking about? What does this all have to do with anything I'm saying? It's all calculated, modified in a line rotation center and track communication setting of face recognition. Look how powerful that is in its applications. Okay? Setting up beacon lights. There's your satellite right there. Boom! Sonar. Boom, 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 boom. Detection. Transmitter receiving. Nah, 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 nah. Okay? Try to understand how this all works and set location your settings in all directions. All right? Right over left, up and down. Yep, you can use that set locations, Melinda, but you have to understand how to set location your system. How all calculate and modify your Earth and position of your source of the avatar to your sim becomes a satellite calculates setting and transmitting receiving to its detect location system to its planet system of location. Hooah! Right? So, how does everybody feel about that now? What do you think about 1 + 1 = 3? Right? So now you understand the process, how you have to get in a relationship, partnership with letters, numbers, shapes, and symbols, how it all calculates and modifies in every chakra system to your system, all calculations to its motion line connections, to its schematics of pi, 12 signature line settings and high calculation. That's right, Belinda. It's all baby steps. Baby step, baby step, baby step, baby step. But you have to understand the resource to the source to the sim, the simulation of its intelligence and modification get you in all line settings. To understand each chakra system is connected to each emotional setting. Okay, you have to learn how to use it in position of track lines. You know how many ground lines you can set up through the grounds? You can set up 24 billion settings in high line conditions of circles and all position your 12 DNA graph locations and perceptions of pi. You all have to understand how this all works and all set location is circulation and rotation, circulation, rotation. That's all it is. Circulation, rotation, circulation, rotation, circulation, rotation. And position location. There's your atom. There's your atom. So what are you in position to create enough through each chakra? An atom. And once each chakra has a coloration of 12 and signatures of 3, calculations of source and the avatar line stream location to its rectal location to its sim, it creates its own set atom to its all set location. To its center of its modulation, which is position location to its setting. All right? The calculation to its set locations into the modulation of the space modulator comes in track communication line and interference. Now the atom line centers lines its rotation surface out of the equation into molecular light structures of travel communications and 3 set position of travel set. Okay? So, and then when you get into that signature, you come in this position locations. You bring it in. Right? See that line signature stream? That's a cell. That's a cell. Okay? See? It looks like a drawing, right? But try to understand the modification inside. Okay, you see the lines, signature lines, right? But if you're bringing it really close, you can actually see the set location to a system and travel calculation. Okay, it's dark, right? So when it goes dark, it comes into modification of light signals and high position of track lines, point systems, locations, which becomes lighter and position of light co-location. But it's still there in traction because it's created through its atom, through its molecular light of structure. And that set location line centers changes all communication near settings inside location near tracker settings, all calculated high position to its travel settings. This opens all signals and modification to its system, travel calculation setting, indirect signal to its operation surface, and sets all direct signal to your system, all through traction. So there's a lot to be understood, to be understanding, and how this all works in all line communication to your settings. Can I create a show first, sir, to handle the traveling? I'm just showing you exactly how you just get into each track or each schematics, but you have to really understand the balance out the emotional setting to your track communications. That's the most understanding that you have to understand. The resource of the higher self, which is all line connections to your higher line settings. So you got 12 DNA, 13 graph string location in your higher self, in position to your source, 114 graph lines and schematics into the avatar, and you got all calculations of your simulation of intelligence and modification. That you have 24 clocking, 48 clocking, 72 computer frame clocking, and 144 crystal grid clocking. 144 crystal grid, once you get in that line connection setting, your acceleration, your atom is turning into invisibility to a clock line setting. The translucent patterns, you disappear, but you're still there in traction. Okay? So it's powerful when you understand more lines of signature locations in one setting and all calculations to its position of traction. Just showing you how powerful it is once you understand your settings, okay? Getting in that position location track lines, what's position location is setting, all levels of track location, okay? I just really want you to understand how to work around these things, guys. You have to really understand how to use it in all track communication to a system to all levels of setting. This gets you in a better modification line stream and how to direct signals to location of white system. Track location. See how it moves? See how it moved? From there to there, right? Point system. Track calculation. See how it moves? See how it moves, right? C2 signature line strings, gray, and now it's white. You see how that works? Gray over white. This is your tracker system moving. So once you merge the number correlation setting of gray and white line position of track lines, if you're working with 5,000 line hours or high position of seconds, minutes, and hour position of track lines, you have to understand how to coordinate the correlation settings, the color position of your tracker settings, all through track locations. Through identifications of black, gray, and white. So there's so much to learn to understand to your setting locations, right? All through modification. See? Boom. You see it from that, and then you see it from this. See? See how it travels out? Travels across line. See? Boom. Set position location. There's your planet. There's you traveling. Okay? Very powerful how you come into these lines location travel through some light and dark and set position of travels. And all direct location system. Okay? Showing you how powerful you guys are becoming. And all line setting high position to your system locations. So that's what it is. That's all it is. You know, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Right? Do they always travel together or can they travel to the different sim? That is a great question. Now, to get into the modifications to each position of track lines, in-line rotations, once they understand each color to each sim, yes, they can travel in different directions. But because you don't understand the 12 recognition of face recognition of 24, 48, or 72, or 144, that's 144 face recognitions you got to get balanced with. Once you get balanced at 24 clocking, 48 clocking, 72 clocking, and 144, then you can get a set location. Each track line, set location, your 12 lines of DNA, 13 graph screen locations to your higher self, into your source of 114 line connectionized system, and track communication to your SIM. Okay? They can travel together or they can travel separated. So if they're travel separated, they come back in set location to their setting, which center ops their set location system to its setting. Okay? Merkaba, Tesseract, Tetrahedron. Okay? You're always in your pre-flights. Okay? Checking this, checking that, checking this, checking that, right? That's the position location of basic understanding before you get into travel, through your track locations, through your different emotional system locations. You can be channeling through 30,000 hours of set location lines of calculations through your throat, through blue. Whoa. I just went through 24,000 clock line centers, all through blue line connection to my throat. Wow. Now I'm connected to the ground lines operation surface location to settings. Now I'm going through the red, which is the security perimeter line interference. That's 48,000 lines set in the stargates. Do you see how I separate line connections, but they all communicate to each other all at once? All time lines all at once. That's a 1 + 1 = 3. You understand why it comes into 3 lines? Past, present, and future. So you're putting that all together, all timelines all at once. Boom! All done through equation. Okay? So we now are creating the grounds of Space Academy Sim. Boom. That's all set up. Now we're just expanding out, Belinda. Okay? So we got perimeters of permits and set location on north, west, south, and east. Wing. Okay? Coming in line settings. Tomorrow, we come into 5. Divergence alliance. Okay? Of star position lines, of star direct signals, the star maps, of star rotations, and positions to your astral travels, of astral connections, of astral projections. You have to really understand your star portals of your geometric of its operation to your holographic set locations in your 24 face recognition of schematics of pi. Okay? That's what we all have to come into now. You have to work with the conversions into setting to higher lines of the mind now through navigation, which is your set location system. Okay? It's extremely important to balance out your emotional line settings through one signature line stream in set location and travels. Just one signature line stream. Okay? Understanding how many strings are you setting in the location of your system. All set line conditionized center. I just set up 12,000 line centers location setting to the moon. Now that's emotional line conditions of balance. Now I'm bringing in the sun in set location of projection. Protecting in all signal position location track lines. Okay? In position location to its operation surface. Setting direct signals, panel communication to a setting, and all direct location to a system. Okay, all through track locations. Okay, so it's very powerful when you come in the line set location to a setting through the moon, or I think line signature location line set. It looks like a nose, right? But the positions of the moon travels out, center location setting, and protects line position to its L in line communication. Okay, so no intelligence can come in frame. Can't come in frame. It's protected, right? So it goes out. All right. So when you understand that, you're protecting your system. You have to say, well, wow, I'm understanding the why, I'm understanding the how to get in position in my chakra setting through emotional locations. Interesting, through location and setting. So once you get into that position locations, you understand the signature line stream is extremely important to each schematic line and position of each line. Each line has to be one signature line. If you're going through a graph line center location of a map like this, and if you're coloring it in like this, you're doing extremely well in position location. You stay within the line, right? But if you go out the line in line rotation, that is detections. That sets off detect locations to other planet locations. UFO comes out and say, what's going on? You have to be inside the line. You can't be outside, because what happens is the UFO scans the center position of operation. And if it doesn't like what it sees, it fixes it in position location to triangulation and protects it through the sun and its own moon. Okay, of operation. There you go. Boom. I'm just showing you how powerful it is of what chakra systems can do to all set location line settings, how to put everything back in secret locations through a line signature pattern through its moon set location of its motion. All through location. Okay? All right, so the schematics I'm working on now, it's opening up 114,000 lines of grounds of SIM only to do lace lines over that for rest. Yes. But see, the thing is, Belinda, is that you're working with all calculations of 114, equal line calculation setting into zero gravity in line conditions of 12 signature lines in position of 24 face recognition. That's what you're working with. 114 in one signature line of one sim. Lines of 12 line configuration line streams and configuration location setting and position anomalies and 24 face recognition location setting and direct signal and line communications 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's 12 only. 12 line sentence, that's another 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 24. Okay? That's what you're working with, Belinda. Okay? You're working with 24 face recognition line centers of 114 line position locations and center calculation lines of 12 signature patterns of DNA. Okay? And setting track communication line position location and graph lines in one block location. So you're working with 24,000 lines of signature stream locations of face recognition. Okay? Yeah, it's a lot of strings, Belinda, and that's why you're coming into professionalism line centers of string line calculations. Directing line centers, a pattern position to its operation surface, is really understand how to coordinate the high line interference and set location of 1 + 1 equals lines of 3. Okay? 1, 2, 3. 3 sets. Okay? Setting up a graph line conditions of a road. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm working with 8 signature lines of 8 chakras in my body. That's how it becomes a graph. Now, if I want to add 9, I add a line signature. If I want to add 10, I add a line communication. There it is. There's the hologram. Okay? So it's all about understanding how to use your 0 to 12 through graph line conditions schematics to create this hologram. Setting that track line interference, add set location line center interference. You can add a lot more line communication to trails or line condition to high center interference. You bring in the communication of the sun and position of the moon that protects everything through its rainbow graph string location to its setting. Mega pass. And now it's protected to its co-creation. Okay? See the dome? You see it? It's on an angle. I can just see it. That's the pyramid. Right? That's its dome. So everything that we do, we protect. But if you look really close, you can see the pyramid from what's above, what's below. Now, the signature pattern correlation, let's say you want to get into an energy wash line stream. Setting correlation lines 3 + 3 = 9. So how do we bring the 3 line position locations? So in that track line communication setting comes in the mind adaptation surface. Setting correlation setting of 9 strings, right? Which is 9 million miles line string locations. That's 9 seconds perimeter on 9 set location line cycles and 9 trillion centers in position of operation. There's so many signatures of 9s that you can use correlations through an energy wash, rainbow wash through its calculation setting. But you know exactly how to use the foundation locations of 9 sequence. Position of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And there you go. Boom. Okay, it's all set up. Okay, you're crisscrossing line settings. So use 9 a mechanism that creates the dome. Okay? 1.2, buckle up my shoe. 3, 4, open the door. 5, 6, pick up strings. It is so powerful when you come in that set location setting, but that's how you create a dome, all right, through setting locations. So 9 is basically setting the crisscross line string locations to create the dome, okay, from 0 to 12. Okay? So this gets into all line positions, how you get in your structural location, your schematics. But it's very powerful how you set it up, right? Isn't that amazing? All through an 8-track location of your chakras. So now you understand why you use the sun of light and why you use the moon through emotional location setting. Sun has an emotional line, but it's holographic string location setting. So in that direct location system, the moon is the operation of the line of communication of balance. Okay, through your signature line patterns that sets position locations of its line, coloration, of its intelligence, of its operation, and all set location. Okay? All right, so in that line rotation, powerful stuff, eh? You guys having fun? It's amazing, right? So if you get into true track lines, position of two box, calculation line interference, equal line calculation settings. So that's two signature line streams, two equals lines, position of north, and position locations, all line center. So this is north. You guys have to get in your line condition high center coordinates now. Northeast in high positions, to northwest in high positions, to north-south in high positions. Okay. In that line interference, you come into all calculation setting, into east-west in set location. So you have to understand how to direct and redirect your settings. Northeast, northwest, east-west, and southwest location. Travel. Okay? So it's all at position of track lines in your diamond to your compass and line rotation center, into your water containment system and track communication setting, into its line position location of the surface. Okay? So there's a lot to be understood to know exactly how to set your position to a setting. Sure. You can screenshot that. Okay, and you can screenshot this, locations. Setting track communication line centers. In position, this is what I did with the Mexican school, how to get in modifications online plus one equals 3. That's 1 plus 1 equals 3. Look what I created through 1 plus 1 equals 3. Boom. Boom. Okay, 1 plus 1 equals 3. And look what you can create. Do you see how powerful the numbers are and how they travel on their own? Let me say that again. The numbers, letters, shapes, and symbols travels on its own. You have to get balance to each line of all communication setting to direct signals of the line position of your sun through light and the track communication motion line system into your moon. Okay? Of all track locations of balance. And that's how it comes into 1 plus 1 equals 3 through location of schematic location line setting of its space and modulation of its own design location of its traction. Okay? Mega, mega, mega pass. All right? So everything's set up through your Space Academies. All right? Tomorrow we come into 5. Once we go into 5, we go into 2 line signatures. That's 7 bodies of water line rotation setting, direct signals, and then track communication setting. All right. So we're going to go through the outskirts. We go into space camps. We go into Space Odyssey. Okay. We go through the outer ring. We go to the outer limits. We go into the orbits. So we set the Space Academies to 7, and then we go out. We spread out, create the cities, create the tunnels. Okay. Step by step. Okay? That's what we have to understand the process of. Because now you guys are in 24 signature lines of phase direction location of the color. You have to understand each one is a representation of you inside position. Right? And remember, in set location, each line communication is a perception of you through flux capacitor. You have to learn how to balance these things out, right? All through vision. All right. All right. So we're all done. I hope you guys had fun. I know I did. So just take it step by step. Don't focus too much on everything that's in position to your settings. Everything is done in the location system, but you're coming into the process of calculation now. Okay. Really understand the formulas, especially when you understand what 1 plus 1 equals 3 and how it comes into an anomaly of a shape or anything through a letter or anything through a symbol. Okay. All right. Thank you, Belinda. Thank you, team. I'll see you guys in 5.